really cold, so it might even be worse than that.
Is he on radiators there?
I don't think so, because that particular house was in very bad condition when he bought it, so
Right.
he
So he might
probably
have.
just replaced the system to
Yeah.
an
Right.
HVAC system.
Right.
And all that stone on that house, like it's like 2 feet thick. It's
Right.
solid stone all the way up. So it's cold, so it probably contributed to cooling that house down a lot quicker.
Wow. Wow. I hope they're okay over there. That's too bad. I know that they've revived a lot of the power for the community, like 500,000 people, or 75% of it. But still, a lot of people are struggling right now.
Mm-hmm.
But campus has fired up, so that looks good.
Yeah, campus never lost power at all, as far as I know.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's good. Wasn't a big issue in comparison to over in Berkeley anyway. 11 and 12 mile got hit really, really hard. 10
I've
mile
no,
didn't even get touched.
yeah, I've noticed that. Even Royal Oak has some issues too.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. What do you want to go over today?
Well, I sent you an email talking about one of the buildings, and then I made another revision to another one. The only one I haven't touched that I'd like to is the mixed-use building,
Right.
and that's going to be this week and probably maybe next week too. We'll see, because I think that one's going to take me a while.
Right. And I've got the carriage house and the single fam up. I got that email up right now.
Okay, so that was the email I sent you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll screen share then. You see it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I do.
All right, so this one, I think we discussed this one. This one was performing incredibly well already. So
Right.
what I did was I redrew this single family home in elevation and
Right.
realized that it was a hell of a lot larger than I was originally thinking after I drew it, because it's basically a full half story above, so that adds at least another 60% to the square footage of each.
If you build out the attic, you mean, or?
It's already built out.
Yeah, I see.
They've got full egress windows and everything up there. So
Yeah.
whatever's up there, it's a full story. So it's about 1,100 square feet of floor. So I just went ahead and added another 600 square feet for the upper story.
Gotcha.
Which increased my income and renovation costs. But that brought me up to like 15% down here, which was really high. So I went ahead and increased the amount of money that I was spending on the carriage house. I redesigned it and increased some of the costs, put a full front porch on it.
Nice.
And that brought it back down to right about where I started with 12 and a. Actually, it's 13. I was at 12 and a half, so it's still performing better than I was expecting.
So what's the final percentage? What's the value for this? The cash on? Okay. 12.9. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's still performing really, really well. So this is surprisingly one of the best performing properties on the landscape, for sure.
How interesting.
Another interesting thing about this single family is that the basement has a ton of light going into it too.
Because you have such an elevated first floor?
Yeah,
it looks like it's about 4 or 5 feet.
It's at least 4 feet above, possibly 4.5 or 5.
Right.
If you count risers, it's probably it's either 4 feet or 4'6", depending on how high the risers are. So actually, if they're 8-inch risers, it could be 5 feet. But
right.
So yeah, it's pretty significant. So they've got full windows going into the basement too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very large building. But it doesn't appear that way from the street because it's set back so far.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, that's that building. Then I took a look at the triplex. I can't remember. Did I show you this one? Yeah, this was the first one I did, right?
Right.
All right. So That one I redesigned a little bit, and that one's still not doing great, but I got it out of the negative.
Right.
I think it was like negative 0.05 or something like that, but it's at 4% right now. This is the one that I did last weekend, the sixplex. So the sixplex was not performing very well. I don't think. Let me see if I can find it here. It was at 3.9% return on cash value. So after looking at it a little bit, I started with the floor plan units. I had originally designed it such that the 4 units were on the
Right.
bottom, and then there was 2 smaller units above.
Right.
Uh, what I changed in this was that I put the two units on the bottom, and I turned them into 2 bedrooms, and they're much larger now. They're actually 1,000 square feet. Pretty generous with space, I think. And then I moved the 4 units above, and slightly increased the size of their just a little bit. I cantilever the floors out front and back a foot, so I increased their size just slightly. And that increased my income potential because the square footage went up.
Are these are for rent, correct?
Yes.
And what
I'm
are
assuming.
what are you getting for rent on these?
These I've got set at 125 right now, but I'm trying to be conservative with it.
Yeah. So what would that monthly be? What how much would I be writing a rent check for?
The 1 bedroom right here,
Yeah.
about 800. This one is 1,300. The 2 bed.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing, if not low. So that's maybe one of the things you can revisit. I think. I think 1,000 could be the low number, and 1,500 could be the 2-bedroom number. I don't know what that does to your bottom line, but it probably improves it.
Oh, it improves it significantly.
10 or 15%.
I've been trying to be conservative with the numbers because, to be honest, the location still isn't.
Because of where
greatest.
you are. No, I understand that, but you're kind of you kind of like need to assume that everything's going to continue to go well, and that's why you're speculating where you are, and your rent forecast is a look ahead, about 5 years from now, all things considered, right? In terms of the process, the date that these would come online and get absorbed and all of that. So the reality is that this is more like a 2020 project, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
This is the model for that project. The other thing that's, we haven't really talked about it, but like LIHTC funding, low income tax credit, what does that do to pro formas in the city when you try to provide housing? That's another seminar. That's another long conversation, not one that I'm prepared to have, but when you start to apply for that kind of credit, there's a whole series of thresholds that you have to pass as well. You guys may be dealing with that yourselves, in your office, in some of the product you're doing.
Not explicitly.
Yeah, but you're aware of it.
I was platonically aware of it, I suppose.
Right.
I mean, I know that was around, but we haven't had any projects come through our office that have had anything to do with it. We've had a few multifamily projects come through. There was one over on the East Coast that never ended up getting built because the banks wouldn't fund it. A whole bunch of fourplexes. And then we're working on this development in Berkeley right now. We'll see if that goes through. We're looking at an old school lot that they want to put a very large amount of like a huge increase in density right in Berkeley along Coolidge Highway between 11 and 12 Mile.
Yeah.
So,
is the city selling that land, or is your client buying it?
Well, the church owns the land.
I see.
And they don't have. At one point, they had like 300,000 or 400,000 members or something like that. Maybe not that high, but there was a lot. They had a huge membership, and it's gone down significantly. Right. So they don't have The school is just sitting there doing nothing. So the school wants to sell it. The city wants to see something happen with it because it's just dilapidated land along their major commercial corridor.
Of course.
So it remains to be seen if we can convince the community that they need it, because from what I understand, communities can be quite divisive to new developments.
Right.
So, especially ones that are increasing the density so significantly. We'll see what happens with it. For the
Cool.
moment, it's a big project.
Cool. But good luck on that. So what other project type or house type do you have left to do? You have the mixed use?
That's the mixed use is the major one.
Yeah.
I've got the 2 duplexes, but there's not really a whole lot of work that I'm doing to them other than renovating them, and they're
Right.
already performing well with
Yeah.
assuming the dollar rent per square foot, or even $1.25, it really doesn't matter. Even if I could even go down to 0.75 and still make out decent with a renovation. So they're already there. They're already doing well. I don't really need to do any sort of drawings to redo it.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, they're just sort of a line item, a performance, a line item on your matrix because they're already chugging along.
Yeah, so I don't need to really do anything with those, which just leaves the mixed use, which I need to take a look at more significantly. I think what did I say I was going to do with it? Let's pull it up here.
Yeah. How did you calculate demo costs, by the way? Can you remind me?
Demolition costs?
Uh-huh.
Well, there's not a whole lot of demolition. The major demolition was that garage, which is about $5,000 no matter where you go. You just bring a piece of equipment in and knock it down.
Right.
There might be some demolition costs in hidden foundations when we start digging. Actually, more than likely, there probably will be. But since I'm using square foot costs, I guess I'm just assuming that that's enrolled into the construction costs at the moment. At some point, I was planning on doing a slightly more detailed cost estimate of these buildings in the next come April. So we can talk about that more then. I really don't know what the hidden costs are.
I just wondered.
Hidden foundation. I might have to Google
this is coming up in a different conversation, and I just wondered how you had captured that. I know we talked about it, but I also know that you don't have a lot that you're demoing there, so to speak. Excuse me.
Is that something that's happening in your office right now?
Yeah. We have a project in Brush Site that the owner may tear down a 5-story brick building, a small brick building, in order to scrub the site and do what they want to do. And I'm just trying to understand what that cost might be. And I figure it's $1,000 a day plus the haul away.
That seems reasonable. Although a 5-story brick building, being that large, do they need to bring any sort of demolition experts in to cave it inward?
Yeah, they probably. Well, it's freestanding right now because Brush Park doesn't have that many buildings in it, so it's a freestanding piece. But like whenever I do work on my home, Nate, I always say, "Oh, it's going to be $600 a day." Like if a roofer comes or a painter comes, and it's probably even north of that today. Pardon me. It's probably more like $700 a day. But in any event, I start with that, and then I'm never surprised. At least then I've got, if I understand that it's a 6-day job, I know that it's about $5,000.
Interestingly enough, as sort of a spin-off of costs here, I'm taking this cost estimating course, and we've been doing a lot of research and looking at RS means data and experience from a commercial contractor who does work. It turns out that our site work for that sort of site demolition, like I was talking about here, is actually about 10% less than the national average, but everything from the ground up is actually 3 to 4% more.
Yeah.
And then roofing is as much as 10% more.
Right.
So our site, I don't know why our site works cheaper. I guess it's just the labor's good here or something.
Maybe so, or
But,
or maybe the unions have lost some of their foothold.
so yeah, that was an interesting thing to learn a little bit about.
So let me open up the calendar here. Not that I'm concerned. It's probably good just to do that anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a calendar on? I guess I don't have one on Google. Here we go. So we're back on Monday, kind of in full tilt. Monday the 13th. So we have 3 school weeks left in March and 4 left in April. We finish basically. We should have our last session on either the 15th, Nate, or the 22nd.
The 15th or the 22nd?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. Looking at the calendar, if I take a look at the mixed use this weekend, probably tomorrow sometime, I probably won't finish it, so I'll need the 18th and 19th that weekend to get to get something together for the mixed use.
So let's get together. Well, wait a minute. So now here's my problem. I'm in Austin on the 20. I'm in Austin the week 23rd through the 26th.
All right.
So I'm actually on, and I'm going to be with it's with work, so I'm not going to be able to have a session with you unless I can steal away.
Well,
that Saturday the 25th is a free day, and I will be bringing my computer with me, so I might be able to do that.
I don't want to get in the way of a vacation / whatever that is, but
Yeah.
I mean, Monday you've got class sessions anyway. We can meet up earlier or after that, or
Yeah. So
Wednesday.
I could do that. I could meet you on the 20th. No, I can't do it on the 20th. Actually, the 20th and the 20. So the 20th is a benchmark, and the 22nd is a debrief. That's another 4-hour conversation, 3-hour conversation.
All right, I was looking at the 27th.
The 27th is a very good time to do it. Yeah, the 27th or even Wednesday the 29th.
Okay, that
so
works.
We should target that.
So that's the next time we'll meet, and I will have the mixed use done. And if it goes quicker than expected, I might have started doing some reevaluation of construction costs by then.
Great, that sounds good.
Yep. So that's that. Still haven't managed to get through any more in that textbook yet. I think I'm going to skip a chapter. It's a chapter on capital markets and like public investing.
Right.
And that doesn't interest me too much, and
Okay.
it's like 40 pages long, which is probably why I haven't picked it up yet.
Well, you're the arbiter of that stuff, so I'll let you figure that out.
I think I'm gonna skip that chapter and move on to the next thing, which starts talking about where to get money and how.
That's a good chapter.
Yeah, I'm gonna move into that. So yeah, I'll have that to talk about hopefully too.
Cool.
And then what else is happening? There's you gonna be at the career fair next Friday?
I am. Are you gonna be there?
I go every year.
You represent the company, or do you attend?
JSN will probably not be attending.
I see.
I think they attended 1 year before I was working there.
I see.
The first year I went, but I go every year regardless, just to go and talk.
It's good. I figured that it's the only career fair that charges the host company. So it's $175 to do that.
Really?
Yeah, they should be paying me $175 to do that. But in any event, that's
probably why he doesn't go.
Yeah, it's expensive, right? I mean, that's expensive.
That's really curious and surprising, and I don't know why they would do that.
Because it's money.
Yeah, Lawrence Tech is certainly a for-profit institution. We know that.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So I'll see you there, and I think it's in the architecture building in that lobby there. So
Is it?
in that
Sometimes
exhibition
it's
hall.
sometimes it's in the atrium. Sometimes it's
Yeah,
over
that
there.
the atrium is just horrible. Uh,
Yeah, there's a lot of other activities going on at the same
Way too much
time.
stuff going on. But yeah, the exhibition hall's better. One time they had it in that gallery, the kidney shaped gallery.
Did they? I didn't go to
That
that
was
if
the
they did.
first year that I did it. It was like 2010.
That's small. They must. Well, that was back then. There wasn't a lot of companies hiring, was there?
No,
Though.
no. In fact, we weren't either at the time. Soroki wasn't, but I went anyways. Yeah, that was my first. That was my first one, 2010. Um,
I don't recall seeing Soroki on the list this year of attendees.
they kind of pulled away from that a couple. I think they went to UDM 2 years ago, but not last year.
Mm.
So, and they're busy, they say. So that surprises me, but maybe Victor wants to have more control over who he brings in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad you're doing that. I'm glad you're.
Well,
I'm glad you're going to pop in and
yeah, I
test the
try.
waters.
Yeah, I try to go every year just to. In the past, I had just been going just to talk to people and get to know the firms a little bit better.
Yeah,
But
it's a good experience.
this year, I'm probably going to hand out some resumes too because I like working for Joe, but he just can't afford to pay me what I need to start a life. So
Sure, sure. Oh, that makes sense, and it's good. It's a good place for you to be right now, which is moving your way through school.
mhm.
Yeah, so I'm doing that career fair. I have 2 busy weeks coming up. I've got the career fair at UDM on Wednesday,
Mm.
and then the thing on Thursday at Lawrence, and then the following week I have a benchmark, and then I'm doing we're hosting IPAL at our office. IPAL is that integrated path to architectural licensure.
Are you?
Of course, University of Detroit Mercy is hosting and is participating in the program, as so is Lawrence Tech. There's actually 18 universities in the U.S. that have come
It's
on board to
interesting. The
do
two in
this.
Michigan got it.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And legislation has changed to allow this curriculum to dovetail in with the state law.
As it,
So I'm
as far
going
as I
to,
know, I still need 5,600 hours of experience, which is pretty significant.
I mean, in terms of the IPAL thing.
How does that work? They still need the 5,600 hours and all that, right? They can
I
just
don't I
start.
don't know all of the rules. They are going to be testing it in the summer. The kids work 40 hours a week in the summer, and then they work 20 hours a week during the school year.
I mean, that's really great. I wish something like that had existed uh, when I was moving through the program because
You would
they.
have been the perfect person for that program too.
Well, I would have if it had existed, I would have signed up the second I heard about it. To be
Yeah,
honest, the apprenticeship method of education is just it's just more effective at
absolutely.
like just trying to you lose so many people and so many students just through the educational process
Right.
in the architectural curriculums. So bringing them into the office too throughout the process, it teaches them what the business is like too.
That's right.
So
Yeah, it's a highly valuable, which is why I did it as a student when I was going through school as well. I mean, I worked for an office for almost 3 years while I was in undergraduate school. So I think it's a really important sort of dimension of the experience
mhm.
and the education of a student of architecture. But I guess maybe you and I were ahead of our time. But in any event, I've got that round of interviews on Wednesday, and then I'm at Michigan doing their career fair. I think maybe that's the end of last week. No, career fair at Lawrence on the 17th. Michigan's on the 23rd. Oh, that's a problem. I got to work that out because I'm leaving for Austin then. Okay, well, that's something I have to work through.
Well, you've got plenty of people in your office. I think
Yeah,
last year you didn't
yeah.
attend. We sent 2 other people.
Right.
So,
Right. Cool. Okay.
right. Well, I will see you next Friday, I suppose.
Sounds good.
Mhm.
Have a good week, Nate.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.